Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new piercing horror story reaction video. Hello everyone, what is the tea? What is the Darjeeling, the Lapsang Souchong, the Scalding Hot Assam? What is the tea?
Adulterated.
Today we are back to go through some of your own piercing horror stories. Now it has been a hot ass minute since I've done one of these. It's been like 8 months. I apologize. You guys keep asking me to do more of them because you love telling me your stories and I love reading them. I don't know why I haven't done one for such a long time, but don't you worry, girls, because she's back. I'm back to do some more piercing horror stories. So thank you to everyone who submitted your stories. If you would like to get your own horror story into a video, just leave it in the comment section of this video and maybe you can be in the next one. As I always say, if you have posted a story already that hasn't been featured, you're more than welcome to repost the same story in this comment section. And in the next one, I will come back to this comment section and get the horror stories from here. It just makes it a lot easier for me that way. And if you do like all these reaction videos, make sure you do come follow me over on Twitch. We do live reactions over there every single week. So come follow me on Twitch, Roly West. Come join the live reactions. But anyway, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos that are coming up. But let's not beat around the bush, and get on with these piercing horror stories. I got my Prince Albert a couple years ago. My piercer is a professional and has done a few other piercings after that, including frenulum. But this was my first genital piercing. It was pierced at an 8 or a 10 gauge, which everything I've read online says that's a good size. Again, we do millimeters here. I cannot, for the life of me, remember the gauge sizes.
You're stupid.
Which everything I've read online said that was a good size to start with. The piercing itself went off without a hitch, but the first week or so healing sucked. I can't. The first morning after, it bled a ton, like through the bandage, through the underwear, and through the sheets of my bed. Peeing in the first morning was rough. I tried to pee, but nothing happened. I pushed harder, and a centimeter or two wide chunk of dried blood came shooting out my urethra!
I don't like the sound of that.
Oh, God. No, I really don't. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Okay, that is not a nice thought to think of. Just blood spurting out the penis. For the first few days, it bled every time I had to pee. God. When I went back to get my second genital piercing, my piercer said it healed really good, though. It was kind of scary to see how much blood there was through the first morning. There was dried blood on my thighs and bed, and I actually had to take a shower. Oh my God. I know there's a lot of people, like, the blood's coming out of that region, that actually, you know, when it comes to periods, all that things, I understand, like, to a lot of people, it's like, well, that's kind of what we have to deal with. But, like, as someone who doesn't menstruate, I don't know, the idea that you can't piss and then blood just like spurting out because it's all like dried and like was blocking the tube. Like that is,
Ploppy goo goo.
Yeah, I've always been very funny about like genital piercings in general. Like I don't think I couldn't be with someone who's got one and I couldn't have one myself. But I mean, it depends on where they've got it. If they have it like underneath or something, but like if it was like a Prince Albert or like ones that go like around the head of the penis, I just wouldn't, they actually kind of freak me out a bit and I don't know why. Also, I would never get it myself just because of like, I'd be too scared about things going wrong. And then like you couldn't piss. And then every time you were pissing, blood was coming out. Like yeah. As someone who never has to experience that, it freaks me out. So this is from Betty J. Hello, Betoishlier's nipple piercing horror story. Hi, Roly. I'm a big fan of your content. I've been following you on YouTube and Twitch for a little while, so I thought it would be time to share my piercing horror story. Well, thank you for sharing, Gorge. I got my nipples pierced around August 2020 and I was obsessed. Growing up, I had a lot of insecurities about my breasts and nipples and getting them pierced made me feel confident and sexy. We absolutely love to see it. We love to hear it. So you can imagine how devastated I was when this happened in late 2021. One evening, I was filming some adults content. Oh, no.
Oh, grow up.
I was filming some adult content on my bed and was wearing fishnet stockings. Oh, no. Okay. I can see where this is going. I was on my back with my knees to my chest. I suddenly extended my legs and felt my entire soul leave my body. She's dead.
She's dead.
My nipple piercing had gotten caught in my fishnets. I just laid back in shock with my heart racing for what felt like a long time. I eventually built up the courage to look at the aftermath and I was immediately burst into tears. The one side of my bar had ripped through my nipple. Oh no, it had torn through. It had torn through half of my nipple and there was blood and I started panicking. I started crying and screaming hysterically. Thankfully, my mum was visiting at the time and she came to the rescue. We decided to just clean it as much as we could, put a plaster on it and go to the piercing studio in the morning. The piercer took the bar out and recommended seeing a doctor. Long story short, I just needed some Seri strips and some TLC. I don't know what Steri strips are. Is that like things to like squish it up together? Is that what you things to hold things together? I'm all healed up now, but I do have a visible scar. I was actually traumatized for a few months following this. Feared that my other piercing would have been ripped out of my body at any it could be ripped out at any moment. I recently had to take my other nipple piercing out because my body just started rejecting it and it was on its way out. I still miss them, but definitely won't miss the inconvenience. Yeah, same thing as me. Obviously not to the certain this extreme, but I bumped mine many times on like towels and things and knocked them with just like getting dressed, and I ripped it so many times. But my biggest thing when I ripped it was with a shower loofah, like the fluffy ones you get, has all the little tiny holes, and like I was washing my body once not thinking, like sometimes it just happens, you have a lapse of judgment, and then I ripped my nipple piercing, and so I ripped my nipple a little bit as well. Like I love them, I love nipple piercings, but they're just not worth the hassle. When I see videos of people pulling on them and being absolutely fine and being like la la, I'm like
Disgusting.
Can you imagine if you were like live streaming or something? Maybe you were like on like one of the sites, whatever, and like you were live streaming. Can you imagine what happened if you were live streaming it? Jesus Christ. So this is from a ghostly meat. Ooh, spooky wookie.
A ghost!
Horror story. I had lots of piercings even as a teen. My parents were awesome about it. I had about everything you could imagine done to my ears, but my little cousin, who was not quite one at the time, was mesmerized by the jewelry and I had in my daith. Oh God. Is it time for rippy whippy? Little hands get in lots of little places. We watched her almost daily and my mum kept warning me to change the jewelry, but me being 16 couldn't ruin the aesthetic. If you hadn't already figured out, yeah, her little tiny baby hands reached right in there and yanked the jewelry right out of my cartilage. Oh, painful, painful, painful. As a person who had a daith piercing, I completely understand how annoying those can be. I'm 32 now, but I still remember how warm I began to feel and how dizzy I got. I almost puked so bad. My mum knew what happened before I even said anything from the look on my face. There is still a very visible indent / scar where it happened. Just to be clear, this thing was in my ear. It was healed, healthy, not rejecting, and placed at a decent depth. I've heard you say a lot that animals and piercings don't mix. Well, here's a friendly reminder that humans are part of the animal kingdom.
Is that tea?
Oh gosh, yeah. So I had, I've told the story many times, but I had my daith piercing done a long time ago. I hated it, never healed. It was really annoying. So like, I understand that, but the fact that yours was like actually fully healed, and the baby was like, "You think, bitch, yank." The idea of these like babies having like these like like real lucid ideas, like lucid thoughts, of being like, yes, I'm going to f you up. So I have a niece and nephew. They're twins. They're turning 7 this year. But when they were like a lot younger, they were very mesmerized by my ears too. But luckily, they were never really kind of like pulley about them. They were always kind of like, ah. And they might try to touch them, but like, they were never like aggressive. So I feel like I kind of got away quite easily with them, with that kind of thing. I never felt like I had to, no, help me. No, like I feel like I was actually quite lucky. But yeah, reminder guys, children and animals don't mix. No, no, no.
What you said was wrong.
So this is from Ray. I have a nose piercing that has one of those spiral backs to it. And the fact that it comes out easily has saved my face on multiple occasions. What does that mean? I've had it pulled out by my friend's hair. Oh no, when she gave me a hug. And it took us 5 minutes to find it in her hair curls. I once woke up to my cat biting it off my face. Ugh. The idea of waking up to your like pet like biting your face. Oh my God. I went from totally asleep to wide awake and pulling my cat's jaw open in a second, hoping that he wouldn't swallow it and make him and not have to take him to the emergency ER. Luckily, he didn't swallow it, and apparently having me pry his jaws apart in the middle of the night was punishment enough because he never did it since. Oh, well, I honestly don't know if I'd have patience to have animals. As much as I love them, like, I just don't think I'd have the patience for them. On another occasion, my baby cousin decided that it didn't belong in my face and tried his best to pull it out while I was holding him. I kind of just let him since the other choices was dropping the baby. Drop the baby.
You know he's right.
I feel like if I had a hoop in any of these, I wouldn't have a nose. Wow. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of like the L-shaped bars and things. Like, if you want that, that's fine. There's nothing actually wrong with them. They're not really, I prefer having, you know, these are Labray studs with just like other things on the end. I much prefer them because they're a little bit more secure. You probably have saved yourself a bit of stress, to be honest, by having the L-shaped bar if you, if you've been getting pulled out all the time. Jesus Christ. So this is from Karen D, my belly button horror story. Hi, Roly. Thank you for reading. Yo, welcome, go. When I was 16, I got obsessed with the navel piercing, but my mother hated piercings and tattoos very much. So I had to wait until I was over the age. As soon as I became 18, I went to a piercing studio. It wasn't where my friends got pierced a year before. The issue was this place was in the middle of a market. At the left was a pet store and the right was some food. Yeah, if a piercing place is literally like sandwiched between pet stores and food stores, it's probably a red flag. Like, if it's an actual studio in like I don't know, like a shopping mall or something, maybe it's a bit different. But like, if it's like a kiosk or some kind of stand or just something that like feels a bit too close to the public like that, there's probably a red flag. Even though this was a huge red flag, I didn't notice because I didn't know anything about piercings back then. Well, they marked and pierced me, and then they realized that they hadn't asked me to choose the jewelry. What? Why would, what? They just did, what? They didn't ask. Wow. Then they bought some acrylic ones while I had the needle through my belly. Acrylic jewelry to start with. No sis, no sis. And I chose the first ones because I had the needle in there for more than 7 minutes. It hurt so bad when they put the jewelry in. It's because like the thing is, when you get a fresh piercing, your body's trying to seal it up instantly. So it's really like tight and really kind of like aggressively sore. And I don't know, I'm not sure what the right term is to use, but basically when you first do it, like if you should try to get the jewelry in as fast as you can, because it really sort of like clips on, which is why like when new piercings, if you do try to move them, it's really hard to move them because the skin is like basically going like, help me go, seal it now.
That made no sense.
The instructions they said was to dilute a teaspoon of salt. A teaspoon. Jesus, burning your skin in some water with clean your piercings 3 times a day. Of course, it got very irritated because that was way too much salt in too little water, and my piercing started rejecting. I went back and they told me not to worry, that it was normal and not to take it out. But my gut feeling said, no, take it out now. They seemed to not know what they were doing. So I took it out and it closed, leaving a scar that looks like a sunburn. And then I investigated about piercings and ended up with 10 beautiful ear piercings. We love to see it. We love to hear it. Perfectly healed, done in a real piercing studio with implant grade titanium. Love you. Well, I'm glad there was a happy ending. We love a happy ending, just like Jesus loved a happy peach. Look at these red flags from the beginning. Like, if you go into a piercing studio, before you even go there, they don't even ask you like what kind of jewelry you want. That is a big red flag. Like the piercing studio I go to, and even when I went to like more like shitty ones like Blue Banana, they would always say to you, these are the kind of things you can have in this piercing. This is what you can pick from. Please select, and then that is what you'll have. Like, if they don't even do that, like if the fact that a place like Blue Banana, which again isn't the most, you know, high up there piercing studio, let's just be honest, like even if they're doing it, that's, you know, that's a sign of like anything isn't doing that, there's something real dodge.
Is that tea?
But like the fact they just left the needle in you for 7 minutes as well is unhinged. Like 7 minutes. That hole would have been like clamping onto that piercing like needle. Like, oh God, no. But also it's the fact they want an entire teaspoon of salt. An entire teaspoon. You literally use like a pinch of salt. Like your pinchiest of pinch. The idea that they were like, use an entire teaspoon. Like, absolutely not.
So you're going to die.
But I'm glad that in the end, you got some nice piercings and it's actually like wonderful now. Like, yeah, I apologize you had to go through that though. Oh my God. So this is from Theo. Okay, here's my piercing horror story. In December 2021, I was dating someone and the subject of piercings came up. I had a long list of piercings I wanted, though at the time I had yet to get any of them. We decided that on our next date, we were going to get me a piercing. Oh, piercing dates! However, I didn't know which one to get and I let the piercer decide for me. They decided on an eyebrow piercing because they thought it'd suit me, and not to toot my own horn, but I did it. I did my research on the piercing beforehand, of course, learning what the healing process is like and how to take care of it. The next step was actually getting it done. Now, I live in the country, meaning there aren't many places here to get things like piercings and tattoos. Though my partner knew of a place that they'd gotten multiple piercings from, they all turned out fine and healed well, and so I trusted their judgment. Though, upon entering the place, I found out the price was only $45, and I decided to lay my doubts aside and continue to trust my partner, since they had insisted they had multiple good experiences there. It's kind of difficult for me to know price-wise in America just because of conversion rates. Now, in London, it's about 50 to 60 pound for a helix piercing, at least where I go. I would say a good price, especially for London, because obviously London will cost you a little bit more. $45. The fact that like the pound is worth more than the dollar, only by a little bit, but like if it was 45 pounds, I'd be like, oh, that seems a little bit cheap for what I'm used to. It's hard for me to tell because of conversion rates. It's really difficult for me to tell. So I don't know if that's like a good or bad price, but I feel like it's probably not very good. On entering the piercing studio, the first thing I noticed was that he was barefoot. I swallowed my judgment, though, and just went along with the process. You're looking past a lot of red flags, sis. You're looking past a lot of red flags. I was lied down and thankfully noticed the piercer was wearing gloves. He drew on dots, changed the positioning a little, and then proceeded the process was done. I didn't cry. It wasn't really painful at all. And after the piercer told me how to clean it and take care of it, we were on our way. We were on our way, girls. Fast forward a couple of weeks to when the piercer told me to swap out the jewelry out after a couple of weeks. Are you insane?
That's not a good idea.
I had noticed there was pus coming out of the piercing for about a week. Yeah. Pus isn't a sign of like healing. Pus is like an infection sign. Like your piercing will naturally sort of ooze and try to like heal the process thing. But like pus itself, like if it's like a yellow thick pus, that's like a hint of infection. So pus was coming out piercing for about a week, and I shared my concerns with my partner. They insisted it was normal. No, it's not normal. Oh my god, there wasn't that it wasn't pus, and that all piercings do it. All piercings will ooze, but it won't be pus. I was relieved, but unsure of the truth of their words, and decided to just go forward with changing the jewelry. No, I realized very quickly though that the ball of the jewelry wouldn't budge, and it was just way too tight. I was annoyed, especially because I couldn't even go back to the piercer since about a week after my piercing was done, he had a big COVID outbreak in, oh no, God. We had a big COVID outbreak in my area and everything was shut down. I ended up keeping the jewelry and moving on with my day. Now I just want to specify now that I cleaned my piercing twice a day. I didn't miss a single clean and I didn't knock the jewelry at all. I was very, very aware of it at all times. This, however, didn't stop it from being pussy almost all the time. I'd go through bursts of healing being completely fine and then it would get infected again. I still hadn't knocked it and couldn't figure out why I was having so much trouble healing. A couple weeks later, when we were playing with the dog, I lost this non-bumping streak. Oh no, you've been cursed.
I curse you.
I had a big young dog, fully grown German Shepherd, crossed with an American Bulldog, which means she's big and has lots of energy. I bet she's so cuddly. Oh my God. She was playing with a piece of cardboard, and me none the wiser, I grabbed the cardboard and she flung herself at me with excitement. In a last-ditch effort to protect my face, I held my hands, and because of that, the cardboard in front of my face, and she jumped right into it, smacking the cardboard right into my face and my piercing. It bled instantly, and there was a flash of just stinging pain. Of course, my dog was instantly empathetic. She's so lovely and felt really bad. Oh, the little Fluffy was like, I hurt you. Dead now. The piercing had been ripped upwards about a third. Oh God, about a centimeter. I cleaned it until it stopped bleeding and prayed the piercing gods it would heal. I mean, the piercing gods did not answer my prayers. I didn't think so. Time to die.
She's dead.
A couple weeks later, after being in total denial, I came to the conclusion the piercing was rejecting. I was upset, but I decided it had to come out. I then remembered the issues I'd had months back, being unable to take off the ball. I got frustrated after an hour of no success and decided to bring out the big guns. I asked my dad to have a shot at it, and that he did, but even he couldn't get the ball off. So we just went outside to his toolbox and grabbed a pair of big pliers. And I think you can see where this is going. It wasn't even cleaned beforehand. He clasped them onto the top of the jewelry, which hurt quite a bit, I might add, and he squeezed until the jewelry snapped off. Instantly, I felt the pain of the wetness of the blood and pus oozing out of the piercing, and my stepmom gasped as she told me the bottom of the jewelry had gone inside the hole. God, you are fully cursed with this. I rushed inside crying with panic, and as I ran to the mirror closest to me to have a look, I forced myself to calm down and got the cleaning supplies I needed. Cleaning all the area as much as I possibly could, waiting for the pain to die down. Once it was cleaned, I reached the bottom of the jewelry, thankfully still poking out the top of the hole. I could see the ball moving inside my skin. Thankfully, again, this didn't hurt, and I was able to relatively easy get the piercing out of the hole, pulling it out from the bottom afterwards. This whole story took us on a journey. I think it's probably one of the longest stories I've read out. This took us on a journey. You know, you looked past a lot of red flags to begin with. Maybe it was a bit shifty. The piercer didn't have any feet. The piercer didn't have any feet.
Good heavens.
The piercer didn't have any shoes or socks on. They, you know, your boyfriend was saying, your partner was saying, oh, it's normal for it to ooze pus. And then the dog hits your face. The ball gets stuck inside. You pull it. Oh, there's so much happened. And you just sit down for an hour just to recover from the story. Though I do think we have to acknowledge probably the worst thing you said. The worst thing you said in that entire story was, I could see the ball moving inside my skin. What a disgusting, visceral image. Yeah, guys, please don't ignore red flags. Please don't ignore red flags. They're important to acknowledge red flags. Acknowledge the red flags, please. Acknowledge the red flags. So, this is from Jordan. Am I sure to say your name, my love? I got my second nose pierced in September of 2020. The whole piercing experience was fine, other than the fact that they were pierced unevenly. Oh god, that's annoying. It wasn't noticeable unless you looked really hard, so I wasn't bothered by that. They healed up nicely. We had a few mask mandates come through at the time with no problems, but in July/August of 2021, we went into lockdown and had to have a mask mandate. All was fine to start off with until I caught my mask on the back of my Lebret jewelry. What? You caught your mask on the back of your Lebret jewelry? What? What? Were you... What?
I'm confused.
Were you eating the mask? Oh, Manchu, what? How did you get... How are you... Wait, let me try. Wait, I'm probably jumping the gun. Hang on. All was fun as I start off until I caught the mask on the back of my Lebret jewelry and pulled a little too hard, causing it to tear. Oh, it was you had Lebret jewelry in your ear. That really confused me. I was like, how did you get your mask caught around your Lebret piercing? I love the taste of my mask. Julie masking.
Let me help you.
Now, here's where the unevenness comes and bothers me, because my right second lobe is pierced a little higher than the left. My mask would sit right on top of the tear and rub it. Oh no! I tried my best with cleaning it and pushing the jewelry forward and putting a band-aid on the back of the piercing in hopes that it would stop it from rubbing. Every time I would clean it, there would be dried up blood and sometimes a little pus. Although I know it's bad, I would try to use warm salt water. It helps in hopes it would help. It's not always bad. I think the only problem with this kind of stuff, a little bit like the story we had earlier on, is people just use way too much salt, which then burns the skin and dries up the area. It's not bad to use a salt soak, but you just need to make sure you're only using like the tiniest bit, so like literally like a pinch of salt. Fast forward a few months, I realized I could just adjust the band on my mask. Face palm. Once loosening up the band on my mask, it stopped rubbing on the back of the piercing, and I was finally healing for the last few weeks. But I'm glad that it kind of ended a little bit better. Like that is, yeah, I just... Wow. I remember there were so many stories that we had back in the day of like masks being like caught in ears and things. Like, I'm glad the kind of mask era of things is kind of gone. I still think though, like if you are someone who is a bit sick, wear a mask just to be polite. I think the mask ripping things. No, do you remember that? I remember that one video we had ages ago where the person at Claire's Accessories pierced the mask strap into the ear when they were using a piercing gun. Terrible, terrible. So this is from Sir Demonic Girls, and they said, not exactly my story, but my youngest sister's experience that I witnessed. While I was growing up, my mum was friends with a hairdresser who almost always cut our hair, and when I was around 12ish, she also got certified to do ear piercings. Oh, let's be honest, it probably no, they probably did like the Claire's course where they just pierced a bit of cardboard and was like, oh, piercer. Although based on how she did it, it seems like she had barely more training than an average Claire's employee. Exactly. See, you get it, bish. You get it. You understand. Oh my god.
I think he's a male gag.
She is the one that pierced both of my ears and my sister's. Unfortunately, mine healed with little to no problem, and I have not had any problems. My sister, on the other hand, was not so lucky. I should be so lucky. My ears don't fall off. After her ears healed up, she changed her earrings a few times, including getting ball-shaped studs. Due to the fact she's naturally thin, though, she used to wear her earrings very tight so they wouldn't look like they were drooping or falling out. One night, though, she may have she must have closed them up too tight because she got the ball stuck inside her ear. Like, oh, my mum tried to push it back out, but it wouldn't come out. And my sister, who was 11 or 12, who was 11, 12, I believe, was in so much pain she started crying. Not knowing what to do, my mum called her hairdresser friend who came over as soon as she could. They laid a towel out on the kitchen floor and the hairdresser began to slowly pull the earring out of the back because she didn't think pushing it out the front, sure. So she was like, I'm gonna yank it all the way through instead of just pushing it forward a bit. What? My sister was screaming and there was a ton of blood and I just looked on in fear, honestly believing my sister might die because of an earring. Oh, dead now.
She's dead.
Obviously she didn't, but her ears ended up having a bunch of scar tissue when it healed, and she let her other hole close up because she was too afraid to get the other one re-pierced for a long time. Please, what is this whole thing about, like, hairdressers? I just think there needs to be some kind of laws. I don't know. I don't understand how, if you're going to start marking someone's body, like actually permanently scarring someone's body and permanently making, things to someone's body, like, why is there not more regulations? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, oh, I've done a training course and blah, blah, blah. Like, I just don't understand how you're even able to buy these piercing cartridges on, like, an Amazon. I find it stranger that the person was going to pull it back through instead of just pushing it forward. Make sure that you're wearing, like, the right type of jewelry for your ears. Like, make sure nothing is too tight or too, like, loose. Like, if something is too tight, even if it's a healed piercing, if your jewelry is too tight, it can still get sunk into the ear and still get eaten by the ear. So don't think just because your piercing's healed, it's okay to wear something a little bit too tight. It can still give you problems, girl, in the long run. So this is from Angie Angel. Hello. Hi, Roly. Hello. This isn't really a horror story, but it's funny. So when I went to get my labrae piercing, my mum kept saying, now you can only eat soup for months till it's fully healed, and don't stop twisting it. It can grow shut if you don't do it. Oh God, where does this come from? Where does this idea of twisting your piercings come from? The worst thing you could do to a new piercing is twist it, like, over and over. Like, where did this come from? Also, you can only eat soup for months until it's fully healed. Where did that... What conspiracy theory hole is your mum's rolling down? And I just sat there listening when she shoved the needle in, because she kept saying it in the car too. And when she said that in the studio, the piercer finished the piercing and was shocked at my mother and what my mother had just said. What? No, she can eat normal food. She doesn't have to eat soup for months. And don't twist it. You shouldn't touch a piercing. You shouldn't touch a piercing only when you clean it. My mum was embarrassed that a woman told her the truth. I bet she probably didn't believe her as well. I bet when you went home, she was still saying it. This is very sort of common when it comes to a certain generation of people where they've heard something and it's become fact. And it's so like, no, this is what it is. And I bet your mum probably doesn't have any piercings or has no experience with piercings herself. My piercing journey on YouTube has been very critiqued in a lot of ways from a lot of people saying, like, I'm doing things wrong, this is right, this is wrong, don't do this. And I'm like, sis, I know what I'm doing at this point.
Sit down and shut up!
I had someone comment on, it was one of my most recent, it was one of my, I can't remember what post it is, but when I started talking about my Simpsons tattoo, and someone just commented on thinking, oh my God, it's gonna be awful. They're just gonna age terribly. They're gonna look absolutely terrible when you get older, but the normal stuff. And I replied and was like, well, of course you're gonna say, this person had zero, I went on their profile, completely no tattoos, just literally zero experience with anything, just like normal content. There was nothing on the content that would imply that they have any knowledge of tattoos. And later down the line, I had like a conversation. They had no idea what they were talking about. No clue about tattoos. They had no tattoos themselves. And they were just like, oh well, I've just heard they're gonna age terribly, and that's what's gonna happen. So good luck for the future. Like, really stubborn. Even though I was trying to school the person and tell them like what was the tea, like, they still refused to acknowledge that they didn't know. Some people get so self-righteous with their opinions that they just will never listen to anything else. Just listen to some of the stuff that you see on like the Trump people when they're so intensely being like, Trump's actually still in power and Biden's actually a puppet and Trump's actually doing everything, but Biden's not actually. And it's like, you are unsalvageable. You are death. But yeah, some people get so self-righteous in their own opinions and they don't have any idea what they're talking about. But it happens all the time. Don't twist your piercings though. Brand new piercings, do not twist them. This is from a human being. Piercing horror story. When I was 14, I got my second and third lobes done on my left ear. I pre-checked the place and it had good reviews and used a needle, not a gun, before I went. I thought everything was pretty well until she had finished the piercing and said that she had to redo them because she did them at the wrong angle. But mistakes happen, so I didn't think much of it. Now, after going to the studio I currently go to, which does everything correctly, I realized that there was many more red flags. She didn't take the jewelry out of a packet it comes in. She took it and the needle out of a plastic box where they were all together and didn't sanitize them.
How disgusting.
I mean, you were 14, so I kind of, like, I get that you probably wouldn't understand some of this, but Jesus. Just got the needle out of, like, a plastic drawer, and, like, it wasn't in a packet, and it just pierced you with, like, a needle that was kind of loose in a drawer. Wow! There were also 2 people in the room, the piercer and her friend, who she was just talking to the entire time. I did my normal cleaning routine, and then it seemed to be healing pretty well, so I thought. One day I woke up and my ear was in so much pain. The bar was too short, and the back of the second lobe was completely in my ear, and the third was beginning to get swallowed too. I went to the hospital where I got it removed with no numbing, no painkillers, and fully awake. The pain was horrendous and the relief of having them out was amazing. I later found out some of my mum's friends had gone to the same piercing studio and had similar problems or bad infections. I'm not sure what they did, but they definitely didn't do it right. No, they didn't do it right, guy. You were 14, so I can't put this on you, but like if you ever go to a piercing studio and like they're telling you bits of jewelry and blah, 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 and like they just take a piece of jewelry out of a box full of other jewelry and a needle out of a box without anything being wrapped, leave. Like instantly leave. So this is from Miftahol. I think it's how to say on it, Mr. Miftahol. Hi, Roly. It's my piercing horror story. So I was 16 and wanted an upper low piercing, but there was no piercing studio in my area. After searching for like 3 months and wanting that piercing for 6 months, I went to the salon to get it done. And of course they used a piercing gun. Oh God, the salon girls, the salon. The first few days were fine, but they told me to change the jewelry in 4 days. Imagine changing a piercing in 4 days.
Outrageous.
I told them that I wanted them to change it, but they told me to do it myself at home. It's because they couldn't be bothered and they didn't know what they're doing. So I tried to change it, and as soon as I took out the first jewelry, I couldn't put the new jewelry in. It got all bloody and my piercings was painful. I wasn't much concerned about the pain, rather I didn't want it to close. So I went back to my piercer, and after struggling for almost an hour and a half to get the jewelry in, it was finally in. My ear was sore for a long time, but fortunately, it didn't get an infection. It took almost 8 months to heal, but it's fine now. I learned I took this as my lesson. I will never go to piercings with a gun. Anyway. Yeah, never get a gun again. The fact that they told you to change your jewelry after 4 days is unhinged. And for a lobe piercing to take 8 months to heal, like that is... I'm just really shocked that you were actually able to heal it. That is actually quite impressive. So this is from, hi, I'm Mrs. Solly. I had my industrial for about a year and had to take it out. But when we got it, the piercer we went to was a really creepy dude just hitting on me and my friends. As we were just sitting, as she was sitting there getting her teeth pierced. You know, I hear these stories a lot about, I'm not so much piercers, but tattoo artists. I've heard many stories now over the year and a half of been getting tattooed from my people that tattoo me and people who work for him, people on like Twitter and everything telling me about stories and in comments like about how tattoo artists have been creepy and been gropey, or like they're getting like an intimate area done and they spend too much time kind of like doing, like yeah, it's unfortunately, you really have to look out for these predatory people. Like, again, look for reviews. If you are someone who's worried, ask people who, you know, have been like tried to get in contact with people who might have actually been there and actually ask them for a real experience. Well, he was also a tattooer. Oh, there we go. So he was a tattooer. That makes sense. So he had a guy waiting for him to finish piercing 4 girls, me, my friends, and 2 sisters. Well, when I got it, I feel he messed up so I wouldn't heal properly, or it just wasn't fit for my ear. After a year, it was still sore when it twisted or if I got it snagged. Also, my friend's teeth got eaten up by her ear, which could be his fault, but we were both using the same spray for healing process, and he blamed that she blames that she had the wrong type of healing for the piercing. I will not go back to that guy because he was really creepy, and inside the shop just had horrible, terrible ambience of creepiness. Yeah, I would say, like, yeah, just make sure you, again, try to research as much as you can. Unfortunately, some people will slip through the cracks. Like, even the amount of research you can do, some things are going to go wrong. Like, it's you know, that's just probability. That's just like normal, natural facts. Like, some things will go wrong. You're going to find someone who happens to get through and ends up being an absolute horrible person. Like, unfortunately, some of them will seep through. You know, there are so many sites now where you can get reviews on people. Most companies have Instagrams. You know, you can really find quite good in-depth analysis now of people in tattoo studios. Well, guys, I'm well and truly aboard that trigger train. Choo-choo, speeding down the road, about to crash off a cliff and plunge to my death. Bye! And I'm back just like Jesus Christ. Oh, squat for Jesus. Jesus loved a good peach. Jesus was a bottom. Jesus loved all of his men around him. So thank you so much for watching today's video. This has been a lot. Yeah, some of these stories, this like, oh, God, the cat eating the face. Eat my face, per se. And then, oh my God, the nipple piercings being ripped up by the fishnets. Stockings, absolutely not. Bars being sunk in, piercings being changed too soon, creepy people, of course. I'm always shocked by these videos. Your stories are probably some of the most intense ones. Even when we watch videos to actually like read proper stories. Oh my God. But as always, please leave your own piercing horror story down below and I will make sure to include some into my next video. And I won't leave it 9 months to do this once again. So yeah, leave some comments down below. Tell me your piercing horror stories. As I said before, if you have left a comment already and I haven't read it out, you're more than welcome to repost the same story. So make sure you do that. Have some fun down below. You know, have a good chat with people. Thank you so much for watching today's video. You guys are delicious. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos that are coming up. Today's Twitch shout out goes to Trash Spook. Thank you for following me over on Twitch. It's Roly West over there. Come follow me. Maybe you can be in the next Twitch shout out. A lovely shout out to my lovely Patreons whose names you can see on the side of the screen here. And an extra special shout out to my top tier Patreons. Amy Hudson, Rishi, Amanda, Miranda Hart, Athena Barrington, Erin Grace, Jennifer Herman, Zoe Severe, Heather McFarland, Christina Kyle, Benjamin Baker, Robin Scott Palmer, Corin Pemberton, Bethard, Steffi Tech, Caitlin Wright, Chloe Louise, Shell Herman, and Kelly Bowser. Thank you for being my top tier Patreons. You guys are delicious. Anyway, be fabulous, be amazing, be gay, be everything you want to be. And don't let any bitch of the say that you can't be you. Why is that? Because you are flawless.